Vallabha Girvaradari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitya Gaur Haripal, 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 Nitya Gaur Haripal. Nitya Gaur Haripal, 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 Haribol. Jayam Vishvad, Brahmam Sabhivajikacharya, Shrimad, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada, Ki Jai. Jayam Vishvad, Brahmam Sabhivajikacharya, Shrimad, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami, Ananta Gauda Vaishnavinde, Ki Jai. Harinamacharya, Sri Haridas Thakur, Ki Jai. Prem Siko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavinda, Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Gam Ki Jai. Himun Mai Ki Jai, Gang Mai Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Transcendental Book Distribution Marathon Ki Jai. Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktavinda and Padayatra India Ki Jai, ISKCON Faridabad Ki Jai, and Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, and all glories to Shri Guru, Shri Guru, and all glories to His Divine Grace, Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I prefer to think of it, to relate with ISKCON as the International Family for Krishna Consciousness. Krishna Kabachas, Prabhupada Kabachas. Sapti K.
Hare Krishna. So we would like to extend a very warm and a hearty welcome to His Grace Akhil Dhar Prabhuji. Prabhuji is a very wonderful Vaishnava, devoted, surrendered to Srila Prabhupada. He is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and he's been in the Padayatra for many, many years. And now he's been traveling in different temples and he's preaching. He has drank Srila Prabhupada books in his consciousness, absorbed them in his consciousness, and we are blessed to have Prabhuji with us. तो प्रभु जी का हार्दिक स्वागत। प्रभु जी श्रील प्रभुपाद के बहुत बड़े शिष्य हैं, पद यात्रा में कई साल तक रहे हैं, अभी कई मंदिरों में भ्रमण करते हैं, प्रचार करते हैं, श्रील प्रभुपाद के ग्रंथों को पिया हुआ है और पूरी तरह से धारण किया है और सदैव कृष्ण भक्ति में रहते हैं। तो प्रभु जी का हार्दिक स्वागत। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। आप में से कौन कौन भक्तों को हिंदी अनुवाद चाहिए? हाथ पूरा हाथ खड़ा करिए ताकि पता चल जाए। 1 2 3।
What's your push question? Saval?
I am asking them how many need Hindi translation, because if there are less, then we can do Hindi at the back.
Yeah.
It will save some time.
Yeah, okay, so that way I don't have to have a translator.
Yeah, it will save some time because we already.
And then somebody can translate. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
तो हिंदी वाले पीछे आ जाइए।
Better.
और अंग्रेजी वाले आगे आ जाइए। अंग्रेजी वाले अपने आइलैंड से आगे आ जाइए।
हिंदी शिक्षा।
हिंदी वाले पीछे चले जाइए, इससे समय का भी थोड़ा बचत होगी। प्रभु जी हिंदी वाले जो हैं पीछे चले जाइए।
I'm trying my best with this Duolingo. I started about 70 days ago with this Hindi language app so that I don't read translation. I just said to Rishi Kumar, because now I'm giving classes, Gopal Krishna Maharaj gave me one instruction. It's the only instruction. He told me to give classes all around the temples, around East Kailash, all the different temples, about 17. And so I've been doing that whenever I'm in Delhi. I'm not on the road with Padayatra. So, but I told Rishi Kumar yesterday, because he was saying I could give class. He was saying I could give class in Delhi, because I haven't been giving any classes in Delhi lately. And I told him, because that's like my home temple, and when I give class in my home, I would like my next class in Delhi to be in Hindi. And so I can learn Pakka Hindi and I can give some class in Hindi. Then I will give class in Radhaparthasarthi Mandir. I think it'd be nice. It'd be a big victory. Big victory for me. It's not so easy to learn a language. I'm going through this every day. Every day. But I'm inspired. Lokanath Swami gave me that instruction. I should learn Hindi, get Indian passport. My business and my preaching is meant to be here now. I think I'll finish up my life. Bharat Marigar hai, Bharat Marigar hai, and Bharat mein Vrindavan. So, with the blessing, some Hindi Ashirvad blessing, because you have Hindi, so you can give Hindi blessing for me. Buracha. Like Arjuna uses his Gandiva with his astras and he's practicing, so I'm also practicing for Hindi, because that's my service. Dhanyavad. So, and also when I was staying here, as you very well remember, Sumukh was president. And I came here with the Padayatra party and Acharya. And my health it's better now than it was then. Still, I'm taking liver medicine, and it's really helping from a doctor, from Ayurveda and Vrindavan, Jayapataka Maharaj's disciple. And he's first class. And he made personal medicine for me, free. Powerful stuff, even with some gold or some diamond stuff in it. And free, from the heart. I never met a doctor who did it really like that, from the heart, because he's a real devotee. Jayapataka Maharaj told him to do it as a service, so if anybody needs some help, you'll see signs all around the temple, Madhava Clinic. And it's right on the Parikrama Marg, right near the temple. So if anybody has some physical health problem, it's like Radharani taking care, personal care, Dhamantri. But the mood of the mother, I mean, it's just so amazing. So, how Krishna takes care of his devotees. How I was taking so much care here. I'll never forget it. I was walking around doing this pranayam, walking in the park every day. Covered some territory on the journey home since I was here. It's nice to be back. Really nice to be back. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today, we're going to do together, we'll do text 61. I can just read the Sanskrit and the verse, and it's a short purport for 59 and 60. Evam kayena manasa vachasa cha manogatam pricharyamano bhagavan bhaktimat paricharyaya pums inam samyak bhajatam bhava vardanaha shreyo dishati abhimatam yad dharmadi shudehinam. I'll do the translation and purport together. So together we can do the Sanskrit and the word for word. Viraktas, viraktas. Together. Kesat, kesat. I like to practice. So I'm going to try to put what words I know in Hindi. Practice. Well, this would be like part of my practice Hindi class also. I'm just really a baby, you know, very beginning, like Ek standard, Do standard or something. Ek, really Ek standard. Viriktas Chandriya Rato Bhakti Yogena Bhuyasa Tam Nirantara Bhavena Bhajitadha Vimuktaye Viriktas Chandriya Rato Bhakti Yogena Bhuyasa Tam Nirantara Bhavena Bhaje Tadha Vimuktaye Viraktas Chandriya Rato Bhakti Yogena Bhuyasa Tam Nirantara Bhavena Bhaje Tadha Vimuktaye. Bhakti Yogena Bhuyasa No Madhijis, huh? No Madhijis come. Huh? They're on book distribution? Traveling Sankirtan? I mean, I was joined in Malati in Amsterdam, was heading up the Women's Party, and there was a real competition between the brahmacharis and the brahmacharini, you know, there was real competition. How is it here? Is there some competition? Especially, you know, the brahmacharis fired up. We even beat Radha Damodar in Amsterdam Temple, and they had hundreds of devotees, and we beat them. Preaching all over Holland and Belgium. And in foreign land, foreign country, foreign languages, I have better connection with Hindi than I do with Dutch. But when I joined in Holland. And after a month of being in the temple, I joined the first day. I walked in on a Sunday feast, and I never left. Back in June 1st, 1975, I was already a Padayatri. I was walking to the Arctic Circle to be alone with God, and the world was completely insane. Vietnam, divorce became legal. Heavy stuff between the Negro community, black community, and in America. Very heavy times. And drugs became, and sex without marriage, just became normal. Killing babies, abortion became legal. It was really insane. And I couldn't handle it. I lost my memory at 19, gave me with drugs, shock therapy, close to suicide most of my life, only through raw prayer, feeling trapped without the guidance of the Lord. And seeing everyone like animals at each other's throats just to exploit each other for sense gratification. I lost my memory. I didn't know my name, my second year of college. Now they're brainwashing the students. And it's the youth that have the biggest suicide rate in America. Between 12 and 16. And they're trying to import that into India and through the university, through the British education, for which they were able to take over India through the educational system, to break the faith in Sanatan Dharma and Gurukul, Brahminical culture, Brahminical teachers, Brahmin, Vaishnavas. And now we're sending our kids, even now. 99% of our families, the kids are being put into these IIT demon institutions to work for them with their energies and with their talents instead of with Krishna and for his service in a Varnashram community, an association of devotees with real kshatriyas and real training in Gurukul, Varnashram colleges. That's what Prabhupada instructed us, and when we're going to do it. When are we going to plan it and organize it? When? Kab? It's one thing to get the books out. It's another thing to operate as it says. Taking it to the next level. It's time. We may not have so much time because there could be a nuclear war and you won't have electrical power. You won't be able to get water in Faridabad. Millions and billions of people could be dying and starving. In America, there's some temple with some farm. They'll be attacking. You'll have to have gun. You'll have to be able to defend yourself with kshatriyas. With real kshatriyas. Not like you see now. Vaishnava. Like Parikshit Maharaj and Shivaji Maharaj. That kind of mood is required to Sarvadharman Parityajam, to Yada Yada Dharmasya. To reestablish religious principles, that mood, in the mood of Sankirtan soldiers. But not just to distribute the books, to speak the books and to live it. And for those who aren't ready to preach in the cities, with full-time book distribution, and to go out and grow your food and milk the cows like Krishna and Mother Yashoda and Balaram with the haladar, with the plow, to learn to like living like that. Instead of sleeping in Bhagavatam class, get some blood circulation, tilling, with the plow in the field. Become strong and healthy. Instead of sitting beside some IIT computer software engineering program to facilitate the demons. When are we going to start working to facilitate the real mission of Mahaprabhu? To reorganize and reestablish real human culture, which is meant to get everybody back home, back to Godhead. Instead of programming this atheism and this homosexual, transgender kind of... That's what's respectable now. If you don't, you could be practically kicked out of your job if you protest these hellish activities. Kicked out of your job. Really, it's happening. In America, there's no freedom, there's no real... They're controlling the minds, and if you don't play ball, then you're out. We got to have real Brahmins, real Vaishnavas, real Kshatriyas, real teachers to guide society and to give instruction and guidance. People are suffering like anything. Our devotees are suffering, struggling. I'm just trying to convince a devotee who was on Padayatra in the marathon last year, and then he joined the temple because he was inspired in the temple, because he wasn't into making money and he wasn't so good at it. That they asked him to go home, get married, and live with take care of his parents. And he's so weak and he's suffering so much without the association of fired up devotees like he was with Padayatra and Acharya and all of us. And we developed a very close relationship, and he keeps calling me. Because he's really, really weak and suffering without association, boy. How valuable, how precious that is. That's Ramananda Roy. That's what he said to Mahaprabhu when Mahaprabhu asked him right here, what's the most valuable thing? What is the most valuable thing? Huh? In this world, huh? Yes, but what quality? Fixed. And Harinam, Harikatha, Haripasad, Bas, 24/7, just like it says in this verse and purport, 24/7. That is internal potency. So we got to by force keep ourselves in the internal potency. By force, you have to inject that into the mind, rewrite the database of our subconscious and subconscious. Get right at the root of our false ego, to root it out, purify it, and transform it. That's going through our mind. This, every word, every page is this. We keep hearing and chanting and study every day, at least a minimum of 1 hour. These books, especially Bhagavatam. The foundation is the Gita. But the full literary incarnation, which that is just meant to prepare us for, is the 12 cantos from first page, and I include the preface, every word, from the first to the last purport of the 12th canto, and to go through that every day. My quota was 14 pages to keep me with the Shakti, to keep going in the battle with the mind, to keep myself protected and with enough strength, spiritual strength, coming from the rounds, especially my rounds, and supplemented with the morning program and the kirtan, but especially the japa, quality, attentive, sincere japa, and quality, attentive, sincere hearing the Bhagavat And so many books, Krishna book, I've gone through 84 times. Just once every 6 months to get that into my database and deeply. Because it's not so cheap to get a feeling, an experience of Krishna's sweetness and his qualities. We have to keep going and going. Put that in what you see in everything, the nutshell shlokas, within and without, inside and out. You see Krishna directly and indirectly through his energy, how he's operating, and you feel his presence. And to deepen that experience every day as we invoke his presence in our heart, in our life experience, that we see his hand in our life, how he's doing so many amazing things. In terms of the sun and the moon and the taste of water and the taste of a nice sabji that we like, that we can think, oh, that's Krishna, his potency, that he's making that taste. Let alone what the original taste is when we get our spiritual body in Golok. That's just a reflection. Where all the trees are practically dancing when Krishna's playing the flute. And the Kalpavriksha trees and Sarabi cows. This is our home. When are you going to want to go there? You got to culture that attachment by hearing about it, thinking about it. Vrindavan is not different than Krishna, but when are you going to see something beyond the pigs and the garbage? Oh, they're cleaning it up. Actually, Modi's using government money to maybe to get the cars not able to go through the main Vrindavan. There's a real program to that Vrindavan and the different, to protect the holy places and to preserve the mood. And we got to reestablish that mood, that Vrindavan mood. Not just there, but here. So people are inspired to go into the Noida developments and the Frida developments, to rape Mother Earth in big bazaars. And this is what people live for, happiness. With the cows and with the village and pastures, not just goshalas where they're in a concentration camp, but where they can run like it was 150 years ago, before this all industrialization. And people who lived in communities with Hari Katha and Hari Nam in the evening, instead of all this television in Bollywood. Criminal. Trained up how to get that into our mind and become criminal. Bollywood quality. Corrupt politicians and businessmen drinking vodka on the train in these water bottles. Very nice. And we're thinking, well, I'm very respectable. What's your qualification? Oh, I got this engineering software. I'm an allopathic doctor. I'm killing babies. I'm trained up how to kill babies. Very nice. How to cut you up instead of how to become healthy and rejuvenate your organs. How to be healthy, happy, loving, strong, dynamic service, dynamic, enthusiastic, fit for the battlefield with the hearing and the chanting and even maybe a little yoga exercise, just keep everything sharp. That is, instead of sleeping in class because your mind isn't into it. But that you're the soul and that I am into it, and the mind has to hear attentively. So then you stand up when you see you have that problem. You stand up immediately, scared to death how Maya's dragging you down into the quicksand. Into the quicksand of mode of ignorance. How to come up at least to the mode of goodness with enthusiasm and determination, which is the mode of goodness. And not just in the mode of goodness where I'm comfortable, I chant a little rounds, I know some verses, I can give a Bhagavatam class. I'm very respectable. People think I'm very nice and friendly. And I'm enjoying, I'm okay. But that's not Gopakumar. That's not how Gopakumar made it back home, back to God. And that's how Arjuna was able to fight on the battlefield with that kind of, being able to kill even Bhishma Dev and Karna and Drona, cross over all the heads of the obstacles with Krishna driving the chariot. And through Kurukshetra Krishna, through Vaidhi Bhakti, that we can get to Vrindavan. Cross through all the obstacles that are there in our mind, Adhyatmika, Adibhotik, Adidaivik mind. And how you, like that snake of the mind, you have to chant mantras, Hare Krishna mantra, and the mantras that are here in every shlok, and Prabhupada's purports, to pacify the mind, like Krishna dancing on the head of Kaliya. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. That's what we have to do with the mind, to invoke Krishna in our mind. Get all the poisons out every day. Not a joke. It takes it's a rigid purificatory process, and it takes determination, real determination. That's what it takes to win the battle on the battlefield. Jai Shri Ram! Like Draupadi, hey Govinda! To cry like the mother. And not just, Haribol, Prabhu. Krishna doesn't never come. You'll go maybe have some pious birth in the next life, a Brahminical family or a rich family, and you can pick up again and again and again and again until you get real. That I have to get real attachment to Krishna and my spiritual master, to put a smile on his face like Giriraj Maharaj when he built the Jew temple. And how Gopal Krishna Maharaj got that training there, and look what he's doing here in Delhi. Become that same mood, father and son, same mood, boom. Guru Shishya, Prabhupada, and he's a Shiksha Guru for all of us, if we want him to be. If we have that mood, father and son, that I have to become like that, and then I can hook up with his representative, Gopal, and Lokanath, and so many devotees, Kadamba Kanana, a grand disciple. I forget that he's Prabhupada, that he's a Jayaveta Maharaj disciple. When I relate with him in Vrindavan, I forgot. I was talking to him like an older god brother, taking shelter in him and asking him to remember me when he's over. He's already there. The plane is already there. He's just at the train station waiting for the train and get on the train. He's already there. He's so detached, it's amazing. I've seen, like Gunagraya Maharaj's departure, I was part of that. And I was there with Gaur Govinda Maharaj. But the circumstances of their departure, it wasn't like Gauramba Kanana Maharaj. He's so detached. It's like he's just going to be changing his clothes. Some clothes are getting old or dirty, and you're just getting a new set. Just moving on. Amazing. I was stunned. I was with him the day before Prabhupada's disappearance day. And for an hour and a half, he was reading from Prabhupada Lilamrita, from the poetry that Satsvarup Maharaj did. I'd like to get a copy if anybody has one or can get me one. At least he was reading it on his mobile. If I could get that. He was so absorbed in Prabhupada. And he was going through his whole parts of his life, different parts of his, the mission, and even up to his departure. And it was really involved. I felt Prabhupada's presence so much with him. That's the real disciple, boy. We have to become like that by their association if we want to be, and take it as much as, and to invoke that. To want, by association, we can. So we have to look for that association. Pray for it in every opportunity we can to stand up when we're falling asleep in class. How are we going to cross over the head of Maya like that? That's not how Parikshit Maharaj made it. And he didn't just do it for an hour. He did it for 7 days and 7 nights without drinking or eating, and go on speaking. Not like this. That's not like Gopakumar. He wasn't happy even when he was in Dwarka after going in Indralok with Shiva, Mahesh Dham. It was nice, and he did service as a Brahma, as an Indra. He kept going higher and higher. He wasn't satisfied because he had to get that connection with Gopal that he was experiencing in his heart. But he had to fine-tune it, his attachment, his desire. And so he kept, Narad Muni would come and to give him guidance, and even Krishna in the form of a Brahmin, like a guru. Krishna himself came at different stages of his journey. So we can get more inspiration. So that's the mode by which we're going to get that kind of instruction. The teacher arrives, and when the student is ready, well, how much are we going to prepare? Now you're like 50 years old, 50, 60. Is this how you're going to be when you're in the hospital or you're dying? And you're just, oh. You can remember Krishna in the last breath. If you don't practice now to control your mind, to get connected more and more in the heart, now is the time where you're prepared for the last breath, the final exam. We get so many examinations, and in a Bhagavatam is a real examination. What is our real attitude? What is our real? And then we can carry that serious attitude out there on the battlefield. Like Arjuna was hearing. Karpanya doshpatas vabhava, prachami tvam dhamusadi chada, yachreyasya nishchitam prayutam, my shishastiham, shadimam, tvampapanam. Now I'm confused about my duty. I've lost all composure due to miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I'm your disciple and a soul surrendered to you. Please instruct me. That's the way we have to hear Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion. To go deep as real serious students taking notes and trying to help others realize this as we're trying to develop compassion for all living beings as a self-realized soul to become self-realized. You know, what is the verse? From the 15th chapter, or not the 15th chapter, maybe chapter 2. What is it? A perfect yogi. He's a perfect yogi who sees all living beings like he sees himself, in both their happiness and distress. You're not seeing the rich, the poor, the fat, the skinny. You're seeing spirit soul, spiritual family. You're seeing with compassion and a sense of real urgency. I got to connect people with the book. And that I read the book and they're inspired, and not just big books, because people generally don't read them, including our devotees even. Yeah. We're just thinking, I'm happy, I can go on, especially in India where sattva gun is more than, with our devotees, is more of a problem than the rajas and the tamas. And so we think, I'm very happy, I'm enjoying. We don't have that because we're into it for material comfort, my enjoyment. We got to go beyond that to Shuddha Bhakti. We got to see the mood of Prabhupada and have a mood with our Guru Maharaj to please him, put a smile on his face personally, that we get noticed because of our sincere attempts, wholehearted sincere attempts every day with everything we do, whether we're sleeping or eating, it's all for that. So we can go out on Sankirtan, enthusiastic and strong and fit, with enthusiasm, and that we are deeply absorbed in reading all the small books and all the books, so we can relate the books to the people and inspire them to open it up, because we're inspired. You can only inspire others when you're inspired. And how you're going to get inspired? Unless you're trying to rise above the modes that we have to struggle with every day, isn't it? To go beyond the modes. When you're out there, like when you jump in the kirtan like we did today, then you get out of the modes. You have to move with enthusiasm, and then you get it. You got to act with enthusiasm when you're not feeling it, because we're not on raga so much advanced with the raganuga. We're struggling to get to kanishta, to nishta, to get the beginning of bhakti, real bhakti, where you begin to get a taste, an attraction to the spiritual world, to Vrindavan, where you begin to get a taste to be there with Krishna and to hear that flute and to be with him and embrace, like Gopakumar, that you're cursing Lord Brahma because you're blinking your eyes where you can't even see Krishna for a millisecond. That kind of attachment. That's how we can have separation. We're meant to invoke a mood of separation, but how can we have it if we don't even experience the association? How can you have separation from somebody you don't even know what it is to be with them? So we have to develop it. It's not such a cheap, it's not so cheap. Every day that you're doing your study, when you're learning arithmetic, 1 and 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you learn your tables, you learn the numerals. And then you 1 and 1 is 2, 5 and 2 is 7. Wow! So at each level that you're enthusiastic. And then next standard, 5 times 2 is 10. You're learning something. Wow! It's exciting. And when you're a real eager student to really learn, you're not worried about that I don't have pure prema, but that I'm learning something and I am getting realizations every day because I'm a sincere student every day. And I'm learning and growing, getting so many revelations. Wow, I read that so many times, and boy, I never realized that like I am. That's a real dynamic student, real devotee. And that's how we're going to get. That's how we're going to get that embrace, face to face, with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who plays the flute and is milking the cows every day and going out in the pasture with them. And all the sublime relationships that Krishna has with his most attached and intimate devotees. How are we ever going to become like that if we don't try every day to get more connected to Krishna, more deeply in the heart? That we get our heart, where we uncover the coverings of all the heavy stuff that we have. We have to want to. chahiye. The quality of what we want, that's what Krishna is going to reciprocate with. To get completely free from the grips of pride and lust, and especially pride. It's very, very fault finding, seeing how I'm better and everybody, he's having trouble. He shouldn't be in the temple. I've seen it happen, and I'm dealing with somebody who was your god brother, some of your god brother, Gopal Krishna Maharaj's disciple, struggling devotee. Who cares? I care. And that's why he calls me on the phone, because I care. I'm not calling anybody else. Because who cares for each other? Who cares for you? I care. I've been practicing to become like Prabhupada every day of my life. So we got to stop the class. 15 minutes. Okay. Maybe you should do the... we did the Sanskrit, so we can read the purport, the text. Oh. Anyone who thus engages in the devotional service of the Lord, seriously and sincerely, this is serious and sincerely, not like this. Now you're an attentive student in the class. They're the ones who are in the top 10. You want to be, at least compete. There should be transcendental competition. Isn't it? And you get inspired by the efforts of the others. You're inspiring each other. This is real Brahmachari Sangha, Vaishnava Sangha. And I'm talking about not just Brahmacharis, but Grihastha Brahmacharis, like we see, right sitting over there. It's such a source of inspiration for everybody here in this community. That is real association. And then we get inspired by each other. That's serious with his mind, words, and body. That's sannyas. What Krishna says is sannyas. That is renunciation. It's not your ashram, it's your attitude as a person in the ashram, as an individual. You're wholehearted, committed wholeheartedly, even when your mind and your heart is not into it. But you're the soul, and you invoke your spiritual relationship with Krishna by transcending the modes every day with your japa, with your kirtan, and then going out on the battlefield to carry that and to remember how you were doing it in the kirtan, and you run with your book bag. Yeah, here you go, sir. And you're going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, while Krishna's driving and making all the... Yeah, here you go. And then you shoot the arrow into his heart with the book. A heart from your heart to his with Prabhupada connection. Because he's in yours and you're connecting him from there to there. And you're practicing that with every person. That's how you get it. It's taken me so many years to really be able to get to any kind of real experience of what I'm talking about. But if you're always trying, and you will have breakthroughs and some kind of experiences, because you keep trying with each person to break through and connect. And then the words will be coming out as an instrument for Paramatma and Krishna in the heart and Prabhupada. You'll be able to connect with them so nicely, and you'll be able to take their name and number and give them a call, or maybe there's a program here in the temple where you give them the names and then they make contacts. And you can, with such people, make personal relationships because they see you're caring. that you're a real friend without material motive, just to get a score and just get books out there, not like that. But with each person, a family, you're culturing the real, that's Nishtha. And you're practicing to come up to Nishtha. And then you begin to get the taste. That's the beginning of attraction to Krishna, in Nishtha. And then you continue to develop it once you begin to get it. And you've already had the experience of what it took to get to Nishtha through the ocean of Narta Nivritti, so many things that each of us have to deal with. And how Krishna gives us so many examinations and opportunities to make advancement. And you face it, and you don't look for some comfort zone. But you want to root out those anarthas. So, if a devotee desires material religiosity, economic development, or sense gratification, or liberation from the material world, he is awarded these results. So you got to be very careful, because you also took birth because of that in your last lives, and you can do it again. It's not by chance that you're sitting in this room, and you could be doing it in another body. If you don't come to Nishtha, that's the beginning of bhakti. And then you really want to become in the footsteps of Guru. You really want to become like this with your Guru Maharaj, who's already there. And with Prabhupada in the center, and him together, and with so many others who are also like Kadambakananda Swami. Be able to look and take shelter and to try to assist him with personal service, Tadvidi Panipatina Pripashan, with more advanced souls like that. And we take shelter there. And we look for guidance so we can fine-tune it and go beyond, like I did with Sachinandana Swami. After he gave class a few weeks ago when I was in Vrindavan. And I asked him a question after the class was over, and I spoke to him. And I asked him, considering where I'm at now on my journey, can you give me a tight, like sutra, by which I can focus on, so I can finish my business this time around? Huh? Look at this. He still hasn't caught the hearing. There's a difference. Hearing and listening. Listening, what's the difference between hearing and listening? It just goes in one ear and out the other. You forget about it, you don't write it down, you don't meditate on anything like a student who's serious, so he can pass the examination, the quizzes, and we're going to have quizzes and examining, and the final exam at the time of death, that we're ready to remember and take shelter of Krishna, because we've lived like that every day, we've been practicing it. We crossed over all the obstacles of conditioned life by Krishna's grace because we're keeping him on the chariot, and we're reading and hearing and applying it to become like that. Every day, that's our purpose, to become completely rehabilitated and reconditioned and rewrite our database so where Krishna is going through our blood and our cells are chanting Hare Krishna, and that's what we remember and think of. And when we open our mouth, that's what comes out. With anybody and everybody. And not all the politics and the cricket match and everything that people are all absorbed in. Or how he said this to me, and I'm going to get him, and he's going to get it. And, he insulted me. He didn't help me when I asked for help. But how I can help him and encourage that other person. How I can help others with that attitude. How I can help the other devotees in their service if I have some extra time. How we're all struggling here together, and how we can really be in that mood to really work together like the Ampadiyatra. How everybody's really in there with each other, whatever's needed. Whatever's needed, everybody's working together and to facilitate others so they have time to read and chant, to help each other. Not just me and mine, but together as Krishna family, heart to heart, like 5 fingers, same hand, and they're together. One alone is very difficult, like this devotee is experiencing. And we can even experience that in the association with other devotees around us even, that nobody really cares about me. Nobody really appreciates me. Isn't it? It's a big problem, isn't it? That's why so many leave. Because we don't care for anybody except for our own position and our own problems. Instead of seeing the problems of others around us and how we can help, encourage them. Because we're looking for encouragement, we're getting it. And then we can give it. If we're looking for that encouragement, and because we want to be able to give it. You got to have it to be able to give it. You got to practice. Practice makes perfect. You become like what you think most about. And when you read about these devotees like Prahlad and how Prabhupada and so many examples that are around us, and we look for their association and to assist them and to be like I am with Padayatra, because I get that with them, with Acharya. Isn't it? 24/7 on the front line. Just to put a smile on Lokanath Swami's face. It is 24/7. Even he has some problems physically. He's on the front line, I hooked him up with the doctor also. And he got his pulse done because he is, how he's, so this is the way. Like Gopal Krishna Maharaj, we've become like that. When our body is breaking down, like I'm also experiencing, like he knows. Isn't it? How Krishna keeps us going. If we have to keep going. We can't just sit around in Vrindavan doing our own bhajan. Because the world is going to hell. We can't just sit around watching it happen. Because I know the suffering. I can't watch it happen while I'm in the earth, in this body. Because it caused me pain. That's paradukkha dukkhi. We have to emulate that mood. And develop these failings. What is it? Lagata. Divya lagata. Spiritual, eternal feelings of the soul. Like Prahlad. Even ready to have his father throw him off a cliff. Isn't it? Or being put in poison, given poison, or in a fire. They were ready to be thrown in fire, thrown from a cliff by the demons. And just chant, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So if one is very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy. That taste you get on Sankirtan, or when you give a book to somebody, that's the real highest taste, the icing on the cake, isn't it? And once you get a taste for that, how to get it every day, because you forget the next day. And so you have to go out again. And rise above the modes, build up steam, and chanting in rounds, and getting up from Mangal Arati, and chanting and dancing in the kirtan, and hearing attentively in class. And if you're falling asleep when you're japa, or you're falling asleep, then you stand up and you walk, at least when you're doing japa, or standing up, and not leaning against a post, because I know all these things. When I was like a bhakta, and not just a bhakta, It took me years to stand up and not sit down. I never sat down for years because every time I would sit down, immediately my mind. Even with class, even standing up, if I stood still and I didn't walk like a japa, and I would end up saying, really, the mind's so demoniac. So demoniac. So much against Hari Katha and Krishna's, so much more false ego. Oh, look at what he's doing. He's weak, he's falling down. Kick him out. Kick him out. Isn't that the false ego? He's not serious. He shouldn't be here. I'm better. Putting ourselves up and others down instead of having to help. And seeing their good qualities. Seeing the good qualities in others. Only then you can help others. If you look for the good and try to invoke that when you're on Sankirtan. Oh, oh, you're looking pretty good today. You know, nice to see you. Nice to see you, such a friendly person. You know, nice to see you. Very inspiring to meet you, sir. Yeah, why don't you look at this book? It'll really increase your happiness as a spiritual being in a material body. And then you can practice the chanting of the holy name and understand your relation with God. Solve all your problems, how He's there to help you. And because you're experiencing that yourself, how He's helping you. And you can touch His heart because Krishna's touching yours, Prabhupada's touching yours, and then you can touch His. That's the art of book distribution. I don't hear anybody talking about distributing books like that and how to relate to each other like that and have reading groups together that we can discuss our realizations with each page. Each person reads a page of any of Prabhupada's books and go through them together. You have small reading groups. Keshav Bharati Maharaj and Naranjana Maharaj really develops real community of devotees with the brahmacharis and with the grihastas and with reading groups. And then we can really get connected together on this and appreciate each other as we learn and grow together. That's real family, Krishna's family. So let's just see what Prabhupada says about it. Just finish. I'll have to no more, just Prabhupada. Okay? Because he says it better than me. I'm just trying to repeat what he's giving in my own words. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. I'll just repeat. If one is very serious about liberation, he must stick to the process of transcendental loving service, engaging 24 hours a day in the highest stage of ecstasy. And he must certainly be aloof from all activities of sense gratification, even while you're experiencing the ecstasy of book distribution and kirtan. When you're giving it to others, that's when you get some taste. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are different stages of perfection according to different persons' objectives. What is our purpose every day? Generally, people are karmis, for they engage in activities of sense gratification. Above the karmis are the jnanis, who are trying to become liberated from material entanglement. Yogis are still more advanced because they meditate on the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of course, in the heart, or also with the deities. Prabhupada also encouraged that. And above all these are the devotees who simply engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. That's the devotees who meditate on the deities and chanting for the pleasure of the deities. They are situated seriously on the topmost platform of ecstasy. That's you. That's you. You're those devotees. I hope. That's how you're thinking. That's your intention. I hope. And then you can desire for sense gratification. Then he should directly engage himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And that doesn't mean the mind, that means you. To control the mind and senses with spiritual intelligence that you're invoking every day. We're not the mind. We have to understand that, and that's more advanced. So we have to become more advanced. Isn't it? Just stand up, Prabhu. You keep going like this. Come on, just stand up. Just. At least I'll be happy to see your enthusiasm, your determination. The path of apavarga, or liberation, begins from the stage called moksha. In this verse, the word vimuktaye, for liberation, is especially mentioned. You know that verse? Brahmabhuta Prasanatma? That's the beginning of bhakti. Nishta. Huh? Yes, Ma Bhakti Malavate Param. So, befriend all living beings. This is the beginning of bhakti. When we really are practicing compassion, acts for others. And that means with each other, with people on the street, even with a mosquito. Hare Krishna. Like Haridas Thakur. With the trees. If nobody's around, all right? Loudly chanting. Enthusiastic. So in this verse, the word vimuktiye, for liberation, is especially mentioned. If one wants to be happy when in the material world, he may aspire to go to different material planetary systems. Gopakumar did that. We don't have to. I'm very scared. Too much opulence and no suffering. Here we can experience some suffering, but it's not so much like on the heavenly planets. So it's not too much enjoyment, not too little, not too much suffering, not too much. So we can surrender to Krishna with serious determination. If one wants, because there's a higher standard of sense gratification on the heavenly planets, but real moksha or liberation is performed without any such desire. That is explained in Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar Devotion, by the term anyabhalyashita shunyam, without desire for material sense gratification. That means with our intelligence. It doesn't mean the mind. Even Yamunacharya was spitting because of some thoughts of sense gratification, but he would spit. Are we spitting? When thoughts come? I don't know. I'm trying to learn. Not so easy. But we can practice, makes perfect. And we will get purified if we're trying to. Only persons who are completely free from the contamination of sense gratification can execute bhakti yoga, or the process, devotional service, very purely. The activities on the path of apavarga up to the stage of the dharma, artha, kam are meant for sense gratification. But when comes to the stage of moksha, the impersonalist liberation, the practitioner wants to merge into the existence of the Supreme. But that is also sense gratification. When one goes above the stage of liberation, however, he at once becomes one of the associates of the Lord. This is it. There's 2 sentences. Okay? You're very eager to hear what these are. Like Parikshit Maharaj, yeah, I want it. I gotta get it. I'm not happy like I am. I gotta get it. I gotta complete the process. I'm not having that connection, that intense attachment to Krishna, that he comes before me and I can embrace him face to face. I'm not there yet. I gotta get it. I gotta keep going. That is technically called vimukti. When one becomes one of the associates of the Lord to render transcendental loving service. For this specific vimukti liberation, Narada Muni recommends that one directly engage himself in devotional service. Devotional means from the heart, to the heart of others, with Krishna and all others, especially other devotees and especially anybody. How much time is left? What was the class? Because I started it at 8:30. I thought 9:30. I mean, the class, right? I mean, you started class late from the Guru Puja and the greeting. Is it always only a half an hour? Did it? Oh, yeah, but I mean, actually, the class began.
Prabhuji, what is left is a lifetime of practice for us.
I was thinking 9:30. But anyway, anybody have a few minutes? Maybe somebody has some comment or some question.
Prabhuji, if you
anybody? If we have a minute, maybe. I know everybody has so much service, but
Prabhuji, if it is okay with you, can we take the questions personally, Prabhuji? Because then the other devotees can.
What's that?
Can the questions be taken personally? Is it okay, Prabhuji? They can ask you. Privately?
Oh, yes, let's go. Like Hanuman. You get the instruction and we fly to do it. Yes, we go sit down and take some nice prasadam. And then we take the prasadam Shakti and go out there.
Prabhuji, today we will try not to have any inertia after prasadam. Immediately after prasadam, we will try to.
So step by step. Next step, we have Bhagavatam class. Now next step, like Padayatra, each step you focus and you do it. And then the next step, then you go out. You go out prasadam, kirtan, and then you're out to giving kirtan, the Brihad Bhagavatam. the Brihad Madanga. Beat the drum and distributing the books. The whole parampara becomes very, very fire. Oh, wow, look to see what's going on down there on the planet Earth right now. Boy, now these devotees are really fired up. They want to take birth with the party, and they want to come down. The demigods want to come down and be on the party. Those things so much fired up, so inspired. Thank you.
Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, His Grace Akhildhar Prabhuji ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samvat Gaur Bhakt Vrinda ki. So let us all very, very enthusiastically chant Hare Krishna Mahamant to express our gratitude to Prabhuji for inspiring us, waking us up, and telling us that every time we fall asleep, whether in class or in chanting or any time in life, we should immediately stand up and enthusiastically drink the books of Srila Prabhupada and chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Two more times. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Grace Akhildhar Prabhuji ki, Srila Prabhupada